From WKYC Studios, this is 3 News at 6 with Russ Mitchell and Christy Paul.
Stock market madness. The Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 all posting their biggest losses since 2020.
Take a look at the numbers here. The Dow plummeted 1,600 points. The Nasdaq fell almost 6%, and the S&P dropped almost 5%. This is all, of course, coming a day after President Trump announced aggressive new tariffs.
And with that, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The list of new tariffs has drawn strong global reaction, with some affected countries promising retaliation as they face tariffs up to 54%.
The steep tariffs are raising consumer fears as well, as you can imagine, that higher prices are on the way. NBC's Julie Sirkin reports from Washington.
Fallout today after President Trump announced sweeping tariffs that will affect everything from the cost of cars, alcohol, even toys.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
Fears of an escalating trade war sending the stock market plummeting.
Markets in sell-off mode big time.
Taxes hitting almost every country.
The average tariff is going to be about 25% and could cost the average family as much as $5,000 a year.
A 10% minimum on all trading partners. What the White House calls a reciprocal tariff on dozens of countries they say are ripping off the U.S. China facing an additional 34% increase on top of a 20% tariff already in effect. And goods from the European Union, a 20% import tax. Adversaries and allies treated the same.
I'm announcing that the government of Canada will be responding by matching the U.S. approach.
And already Americans are feeling the squeeze. Stellantis automaker pausing operations at a Canadian plant and temporarily laying off 900 American workers. Trump's team out in full force defending the tariffs.
We've got to take this country in a different direction.
But for now, that direction could lead small businesses down a rough path.
It could be as much as $50,000 more for us to import our goods.
Adam Fazakerly and his wife own Lay & Go. Their big seller is the cosmetic bag that they manufacture in Cambodia, which was just hit with an additional 49% tariff. He says they tried to manufacture their product in the U.S. and couldn't.
We looked to 13 different manufacturers in our country, and the thing that they kept saying is, you're just going to move it to China because that's where it belongs.
And as the reality of his tariffs sets in, President Trump is heading to his Florida golf resort. It's still not known if Liberation Day could turn into a liability. And here on Capitol Hill, some Republicans are joining Democrats in pushing back. For example, Trump loyalist Senator Chuck Grassley, who hails from the farm-heavy state of Iowa, introducing a bipartisan bill today that would give Congress more power over future tariffs. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
Julie, thank you. And listen, you know what this means. Today is not the day to look at your 401k. This sell-off is shaking a lot of people up. You're probably wondering what to do. So I asked financial expert Ted Jenkin, what should people under 50 years old do versus people who are closer to retirement?
Let's remind people that over a long period of time, meaning 5 years or more, generally speaking, the stock market does better than just about every investment. So if you have a longer term time horizon, you're not going to retire for 10, 15, 20 years or more, there is no reason to panic whatsoever. The stock market has always done well over the long term. However, if you've shifted to the phase where you need income, you don't make a paycheck anymore, and you need your investments to make a paycheck, this might be the time to reassess and say, are there better alternatives for ways to be a little bit more safe? The United States Treasury is only around 4%. Even your best money markets out there are only around 4%. So if you need to make 6, 7, or 8% of your money, you may have to look into alternative private investments. You may have to look into real estate investment trust or other investments outside of the stock market, because the bond market and putting money in cash generally won't get people the returns they need to recreate that paycheck.
Well, this story is far from over, obviously. NBC Nightly News has extended coverage for you coming up at 6:30.